So India is on this massive mission, right, to build a workforce that's truly ready for the future. But at the very same time, the Arctic is melting so fast, it's literally going to rewrite global trade routes. You might be wondering, what do these two things have to do with each other? Well, a lot, actually. Stick with us for the next few minutes, and we'll connect the dots between India's biggest goals and our planet's most urgent challenges. Let's jump in.
Okay, so here's what's on the docket today. We're going to kick things off by looking at how India is trying to skill up its people for what's next. Then we'll take a trip all the way up to the Arctic to see how climate change is creating brand new risks and opportunities. From there, we'll come back home to check the pulse of the Indian economy, dive into a new law that affects our food, and then wrap it all up with a bigger look at our planet's overall health.
All right, let's dive right in. First up, let's talk about something that's absolutely foundational to India's future, skilling its youth. This idea of a Viksit Bharat, a developed India. It's a massive goal, and honestly, it's just not possible without a workforce that's geared up for the jobs of tomorrow.
All right, look at this number for a second. 1.4 crore. That's 14 million people. That's how many have been trained under India's main skilling scheme since 2015. I mean, that's a huge, huge number. But here's the real question, the one that really matters. Is it actually working? Are these folks getting jobs after getting their certificates?
And this is where things get really interesting. The government basically realized the old way just wasn't cutting it. It was what they call supply-driven. Think of it like this. They were just training a bunch of people and then hoping for the best, crossing their fingers that someone would hire them. The new plan, PMKVI 4.0, completely flips that on its head. Now it's demand-driven, which means they're starting with what the industry actually needs and designing the training around that. And this table here, it lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you've got the old problems, right? Industries just didn't trust the training, the syllabus was totally outdated. But now, look at the solutions they've come up with. To fix that trust issue, they've made on-the-job training mandatory. To fix the outdated courses, bam, a massive focus on future skills like AI, robotics, even drone tech. It's a direct attack on all the old problems. Okay, so while India is busy building up its strengths at home, there's this massive force outside that's changing everything. We're shifting gears and heading way up north, to the Arctic. What's happening there is frankly alarming. And trust me, what happens at the top of the world doesn't stay at the top of the world. Think of this slide as a health report for the Arctic, and the news is not good. I mean, look at this. Temperatures are rising twice as fast as anywhere else on the planet. Sea ice is at a record low. Greenland is losing unimaginable amounts of ice. Even the tundra turning green. It might sound nice, but it's a huge warning sign of a system that's seriously out of balance.
Okay, but here's something that's really, really scary. We're not just talking about the ice that melts and refreezes every year. No, this is the old, thick ice, the kind that's supposed to be there permanently. It's the bedrock of the entire Arctic ecosystem. And since the 80s, 95% of it is gone.
And just to give you an idea of the sheer scale of what's happening, look at this number. The Greenland ice sheet alone is shedding about 129 billion tons of ice every single year. This isn't some slow leak, it's a flood of fresh water pouring into our oceans, and that directly pushes sea levels up for everyone everywhere.
Okay, so you might be thinking, a melting Arctic? That's sad, but why does it matter to us in India? Well, this map right here tells you exactly why. See, as that ice vanishes, new shortcuts for ships are opening up, like the Northern Sea Route. We're talking about cutting the travel time between Asia and Europe by 40%. That means huge economic opportunities, but also, of course, a new scramble for resources and influence. And India is definitely paying attention. It's already an observer in the Arctic Council and is very interested in these new routes.
Speaking of economic opportunities, that's the perfect cue to bring us back home and check the pulse of the Indian economy. Let's see what the latest numbers are telling us.
And the headline here is definitely a positive one. We're looking at projections of real GDP growth speeding up to 7.4% for 2025-26. That's up from 6.5% the year before. You have to remember, in a world where many economies are slowing down, this kind of growth really makes India stand out.
But okay, where is all this growth actually coming from? Let's break it down. The services sector is the absolute engine here, projected to grow at a blistering 9.1%. Manufacturing is also looking really strong at 7%. Agriculture, on the other hand, seems to be slowing down a bit. So the key takeaway? It's really services and manufacturing that are pushing the economy forward right now.
All right, now let's zoom in on a crucial part of that economy, agriculture. There's a huge policy change happening right now that's going to affect millions of our farmers and, well, all of us who eat.
So have a look at this. On one side, you have the old law from 1968. I mean, think about that. It's over 50 years old, and it was mainly about insecticides. The new bill, on the other hand, is a complete rewrite. It's not just a small update. It covers all pesticides, brings in a modern digital system for governance, and trust me, the penalties for breaking the rules are much, much tougher.
And to make sure this new system actually works and holds people accountable, they've set up this really clear two-part structure. First, you've got a central pesticides board. Their job is to give all the scientific and technical advice. Then you have the registration committee, and these are the folks with the real power. They're the ones who can approve, review, or even cancel a pesticide's registration. This split between advice and action is really key to making the system work better.
Okay, for our last section, we're going to zoom back out one final time. Let's look at a couple of big interconnected challenges that really show just how linked everything on our planet is. Remember we were just talking about the warming Arctic? Well, here is a direct and pretty scary consequence. As the ice melts, marine animals are moving into new areas where they've never been before, and they're bringing diseases with them. Scientists are now finding something called cetacean morbilivirus. It's a deadly virus, kind of like measles for whales and dolphins, in the Arctic. It's just a stark reminder that climate change isn't just about weather, it's about health threats too.
And it's not just in the oceans. On land, we have these massive ecosystems that are super important but often get ignored. We're talking about rangelands. These are your grasslands, your savannas. They cover more than a third of all land on Earth. They suck up huge amounts of carbon, they're home to incredible biodiversity, and millions of people depend on them for their livelihoods. They're so important, in fact, that the UN has declared 2026 the year of rangelands, just to get them the attention they deserve.
So, where does that leave us? Let's bring it all together. We've seen India's huge ambition for a skilled, prosperous Viksit Bharat. And we've also seen the undeniable warning signs from a planet that is changing fast. So the big question, the one we all have to think about, is this. As India pushes forward to achieve its national goals, how can we do it in a way that balances that urgent need for growth with our responsibility to protect this one planet we all share? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.